You might have heard a lot of people saying that luxury pieces are a good investment. I cannot agree more, since we all know that these pieces will last you for a long time and will really be worth your money. This principle goes with purchasing luxury timepieces as well. If you have heard about watches, chances are you will automatically think of the brand Rolex. And in today's video, I, your luxury warrior, will talk about the top 5 Rolex watches that you can invest in this year. We will see what these watches have to offer that made them worth their price tags. We can expect all of them to have top-notch quality and functionality. We are all aware that Rolex watches are expensive, even though they produce a lot of watches in a year. But it always gets harder to get your hands on one of these in every passing year because their prices are at an all-time high. But there are a few pieces that you can definitely have for a lower price and sell at a much higher amount. And that is what we will exactly discuss in this video. Starting off at number 1 is the Rolex Submariner 1140-60. This has a case size of 40 millimeters. One thing that is noticeable with this watch is that it does not have a date on the dial. The date was recently discontinued last 2020. This specific model is a good piece for daily use. The older version, which has a date, is actually the 1140-60, and when they released the no-date version, they referenced it as 1240-60. The price range for this specific model starts at $13,500. For sure, it can go up from there. Well, if you will be satisfied by the older version, you can get that for as low as $11,000 or above. Number 2 is the Rolex Sea Dweller. Just like the first one, the Sea Dweller is also a nice dive watch if you're looking for that type of watch. The reference number for this model is 16600. This one does not really get the recognition that it deserves. That is actually good news for people that are looking for good investment watches. The newer versions, as well as the vintage ones, can get unreasonably expensive, but if you look at the models that are usually overlooked, they are in the price range that just makes sense, especially if you're a first-time buyer or if you're just starting to build your watch collection. If you're able to get your hands on the models that have relatively lower price than the rest, there is still assurance that these models can go up from there. After all, people are still paying for the brand and you still have a Rolex in your possession. It is a win-win situation, right? Now let's talk about what you can see on a Sea Dweller. It has a case size of 40 millimeters as well. Rolex released the 126600 version in 2017 for the 50th anniversary of the watch. This new version is equipped with a touch of red on the dial and a cyclops, which magnifies the date on the watch. These features made the prices higher as a lot of collectors desired to own one. The new version obviously received so much love that the older version got forgotten. People do not pay attention to the old Sea Dweller model and are all lining up for the 126600. I mean, even without the Cyclops, the old model is really beautiful, and in terms of its size, I think it is more fitting. The starting price for the new version is $15,000, but if you like the old version better, you can get it at around $10,000. Up next at number 3 is the Rolex Milgauss with a reference number 116400 GV. As a lot of people are not giving much attention to this specific model, it is also kind of underpriced in my opinion. Although its most known version is the one with a blue dial, I want to focus more on the one with the black dial. It has a touch of orange in the dial. Even the second lightning hand is orange, and it is fitted with a green sapphire crystal. I think that is enough color for this model. This design is pretty unique compared to the other watches from Rolex. This model also comes with different dial colors, which is an advantage because you can choose from a number of options. The starting price for the Milgauss is around $12,000. This is for the more popular version, which has a blue dial. Lucky for you if the black dial is more appealing to you because it only ranges from around $10,000. Considering that you can save a few $1,000s, that is a great deal. I will not forget to mention the next watch, which is the Rolex Oyster Perpetual. To be specific, this is the one with a reference number of 114300. It has a case size of 40 millimeters. You might have seen the latest versions of this model. the new ones are undeniably more playful and fun in terms of the color of the dial. Offering colors like these is honestly something that Rolex do not usually do, so it is really hard to choose if you will be looking at the newer version. But good news, because if you're opting for a more classic version, you can never go wrong with the one that we're featuring today. This one has a case size of 39mm and the colors are more toned down and minimalist. The size is something that people really like about this version. Whatever the size of your wrist, 39mm will surely look good on you. This does not have a date, so that is something you should consider before purchasing this watch. The best part with this is that you can even find one that has a price tag lower than $10,000. I bet that will be the winning point for this timepiece. They might be the most affordable watch from this brand, but it will certainly go up from here. The last watch that I can recommend to you on this list is the Rolex GMT 116710LN. I know that the GMT is relatively popular, but there are versions of this watch that were neglected, and this is the specific version that I will talk about. You might have dreamt of owning the Batman or the Pepsi versions, but the LN is as good as these two. This does not have a specific nickname like the other members of its family. This is the version that has a full black bezel and dial, accompanied by the green GMT hand. Not everyone may appreciate this design because there are other options that are a bit more appealing and bold, but this one is undeniably classy and elegant. Considering that this has the same movement, same size, same quality, and same proportions as the other more famous GMTs, you can never go wrong with this version as well. Imagine getting your hand on a GMT for a much reasonable price. That will be a steal. The version that we're talking about has been discontinued around 2007. That is the good news, since you can get it now and let its value increase over time. The LN version features a ceramic bezel, which is the first in the GMT line. This is also the only one in the family of GMTs to have the green second hand. If you are planning to get this now, you can purchase one at around $13,500. Take note that these are all from Rolex, and looking at how the price of all the Rolex watches continuously go up, you will never regret getting one now, especially if you have the money. All of the watches on this list are not as dominating as the other coveted watches from Rolex, but if your purpose of getting a Rolex now is to sell it in the future, then these are the best watches that I can mention for you. Besides, always try to look for pieces that are not mainstream because they have their own character and value. Which of these watches are you willing to purchase? Comment your thoughts down below. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button. And as always, prepare to suit up for more of our exciting videos.